Have you ever burned with pride? You're doing so well in life. Everything is going your way. You have success, you have health, you have wealth, and then you just start to think, me, me, me. Well, if you have, I want you to look at this king named Uzziah. Our story begins in 2 Chronicles, chapter 26, verses 16 through 21. King Uzziah was a good king. In fact, it says here that he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord helped him to have success in battle, in crops, in livestock, in everything. And so this king, Uzziah, began to boast in his own strength. It says here, his heart was lifted up, because he had seen many defeats put to the sword. And then verse 18 says, but when he was at the height of his power, he became proud to his own destruction. No. What did he do that was so bad? Well, verse 19 says, he went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense to the Lord, a task which only the priests, the descendants of Aaron, were supposed to do. Now, why was that such a big deal? Well, remember, God had given very specific instructions in the law of Moses about who could go into the temple and what they could do. And this king, Uzziah, wasn't a priest. He didn't come from the line of Aaron, so according to the law, he wasn't allowed to go into the temple and burn incense. But because he was so proud, because his heart was so lifted up, he decided, you know what? I'm going to do it my way. Now when Uzziah came into the temple and did this thing, the Lord confronted him and said, hey, what are you doing? It is not your place. And Uzziah's response was, no. I can do this. I deserve this. Look at all the great things that I've done. But God wasn't impressed with his attitude. And so God struck him with leprosy. Now, leprosy was not only a physical disease, it was also a ceremonial uncleanness. And so, in essence, what God was saying to the king was, you are ceremonially unclean. You are ceremonially impure because you have disobeyed my word. You have brought your pride into my house. And so the king Uzziah, he lived the remainder of his days in isolation, in a house that he had built for himself, separated from everyone else, until he died. You see, pride, when it comes to us, it blinds us to our own weakness, and it causes us to do foolish things. But God resists the proud, but God gives grace to the humble. So if you're like me and you struggle with pride, let us make a decision today to humble ourselves before God and to walk in obedience to his word, knowing that he will give us favor and he will give us strength. Well, that's it for today's Bible story. Hope you enjoyed this retelling of the death of King Uzziah. And I hope you've learned a lesson about pride and the need to humble yourself before God. If you did enjoy this, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the story behind the song. Until next time, remember Jesus loves you.